How do we start these normally?
Usually I just pop it off.
Cool.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to End Zone to End Zone, our podcast for the marching arts. Today we are back in the fan seat, and I am here with
Nick Mason.
So Nick and I are both Cavalier alums, and it's DCI season, so we figured we'd get together and watch a little DCI together.
Yep.
And Nick's specialty here at Synced Up is in the audio world. So Today, what are you going to show us?
Yeah, so just some notable sound design moments in the DCI idiom. Obviously, not all the ones worth mentioning, but definitely the ones that caught my attention as a viewer and as I was kind of researching some things. So yeah, we've got some we're going to look through, and some that we might know of, some we might not. So
in some of these other reaction series that we've done, we've been going back to the 70s, the 80s for sound design. Can't do that, really. Do that. Yeah, you really can't. It wasn't legal. I'm actually a bridge generation. Yeah. I aged out in 2008 where it was microphones, yes, right. Electronic instruments, no.
Yeah, not quite. So right. Yeah, and that was kind of the trick with finding some things is like trying to maybe see if there were some of those elements from that era that could still work under the sound design kind of topic. But I think what I ended up settling on is like kind of when we started dipping our toes into like really what was possible. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked.
You mean like a marching machine ain't sound design?
Yeah,
come on,
no,
that's
totally
crazy.
Could be. I mean, yeah, like just anything. Yeah, like acoustic elements can be sound design.
That's right. No, but we're gonna focus more on the electronic side today.
For sure.
And for anybody who is not familiar with Nick, he's a fantastic resource in all of these kind of things for audio. So if you're ever for your band need a little help in the audio department, hit up Synced Up. You can talk to Nick or anybody else on our team who's really snappy with that stuff. So, all right. Well, with that, let's dive in. Let's watch some drum corps.
All right. So first one is 2014 Blue Coats. Okay. Very sick show, top to bottom. Obviously, one of those single title tilt shows. And what can you do with it? You can do a lot with it. So this moment was how they tilted sound and what that really means. So let's check it out. Crowd goes crazy. Bring it back up. Even the camera guy was in on it.
Yeah, the camera guy was. Yep. He knew the bit.
Yeah. And then bring it home, right? Cool effect moment. Riser going up, sound design, the bass drop going down. Boom. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, that was a cool moment just because the approach into getting that result was obviously you had to record the drum corps playing that, right? You can't, we have some good MIDI instruments out there that we could use to kind of create that effect. But I think the thing that they did that was really cool and unique, 11 years ago was let's just set up a 2-hour-long recording session, whatever it needs to be, get that chord, and then we're able to, process it post and be able to input that into the show. So I think that approach was really cool.
Mm-hmm. You actually answered my first question. Was I was first thing I thought was like, wow, they picked a perfect sound. It had the same amount of like in the stack of voices. It had the same amount of depth. So it was really a seamless handoff.
Yeah. And I think again, like that's always the battle with sound design is trying to make it feel like it's integrated and that there's not like that fourth wall that you break with sound design elements. You really want it to sound like it's part of the moment. And I think, again, like just the way they did it and the way they accomplished it did make it as seamless as you possibly could, given, the confines of the field and where your sound system is and all that stuff, but yeah,
and this is earlier on, first 5 years of of this kind of thing happening.
Right.
Run it back one more time. Let's hear that.
Time.
Everybody listen for that pass off of the brass sound to the sound design.
Pitch bend, right? That's what we would call that. Same chord voicing, just up and down.
The choreo with it is just money, too.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Yeah.
And then going into this last hold here, listen to the riser go up and the bass drop go down right there.
Yeah.
So they split it off even more that way.
That's like the most... one more, like, we're okay with being a little more synthetic on the nose there because, we already got you with our trick.
Correct.
Love it.
Yeah, cool moment there. Ready to move on?
Impressed. Let's see what's next.
So, okay, next one. This is Blue Nights 2017.
Cool.
Okay, so the thing that stood out to me the most in this, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that this was one of the first instances where we did some live vocoder processing through the acoustic instruments in the drum corps idiom, and I think it's done very tastefully, and not only is it done tastefully, but they make a whole moment out of it. So let's check it out, and then we can talk more about it.
I believe people have the need to be seen.
Yeah, that was cool because obviously it's all about the snare drummer in that moment. They really, both musically and visually, make it about him. And you can hear it develop not only as like a single color of the vocoder, but then as he moves and the pit adds in,
right,
you start hearing the chord structure and like the movement of the song, which is also a really unique thing.
It's a cool enough trick to be able to trigger a digital instrument from an acoustic instrument like that
in real time.
And then to have the instrument grow and change and help develop the moment and the emotion and the amount of color.
For sure.
Really
and
cool.
The direction of it is what I like about it the most, because obviously this could easily have been one of those like, oh, like this is just a transitional moment and whatever. But no, they made it like a moment. They made it a moment, and they made it very obvious of what they were doing. So obviously the metric A-cell, D-cell, you get that one color.
Yep. Start getting used to what you're hearing.
Right. And you're like, oh, that's cool. And you can even hear the modulation of the vocoder itself happening as the filter is sweeping up and down.
Got to give him some props for the performance quality as well. He's killing it.
Got to draw the eye in. Super ethereal moment. And yeah, so like we were saying, like from this happening live, like in this shot, you can kind of see the synth player down here has the wireless antennas, so we can only assume that the receivers of that wireless mic is going into his synth rig. Therefore, it's been going through main stage, I would assume, and they're playing the chords live in time. So again,
sweet. So the keyboard player is voicing the chords, and that's what's coming through.
Correct. Yeah. So
sweet.
And you wouldn't hear the vocoder if there was no sidechain audio coming in. So they could be playing the chord, and if the snare drummer's not playing, then you're not going to hear it. Exactly.
Right.
So it's very coordinated moment. It's a very cool moment. And we start, after this, I feel like we started seeing more of it, and we started seeing different versions of it.
Right.
And we're still seeing it even this year with drum corps, doing some more vocoder stuff, and like taking like melodic and harmonic instruments and running it through vocoders to kind of get a
Right.
different color.
And again, like the whole pit orchestration really made it too, because right when the vocoder sound spread into more colors, the whole pit kind of swells
Yeah.
and grows with it,
Yeah.
and supportive.
Definitely pushes it forward. And the other part that we kind of appreciate about it is that no two shows could be the same, right? Like his
Sure.
performance could be different, and then you get a different result. And I just think that part's really cool about it too. So,
Right.
word.
Awesome. Yeah. What's next?
What's next? I accidentally pressed it earlier.
Way
but-
to go, Blue Knights, though. Very
Yeah,
cool.
way to go. All right, so this one's sick. All right, so this Cavaliers 2017. This is like the outro closer moment of the show. Men Are From Mars. Obviously, you're going to hear the Mars theme throughout, but you're also going to hear the Frank Sinatra "My Way."
Yep.
So kind of juxtapose on one another. And the main thing to note during all this is the singing vocals, how it integrates with the brass melodic elements, and then also there's going to be a trumpet duet and a mellophone duet, kind of trading back and forth. Classic. Kind of get that flanger phaser effect.
I'm a Marvin Martian fan. I'm
Yeah.
seeing it.
Yeah, you
I'm
can hear
feeling
it.
it. Love it.
Trombone Doppler effect situation. This is sound design. Have they moved left to right to left?
Oh, so that's being supported in
Yeah.
the sound as well.
Yeah. The singing sits right on top. One more note.
Have
Yeah.
to.
So yeah, there's a lot that goes on to kind of carry it to the very end like that. But yeah, going back to the trumpet mellophone, they're actually running that through a guitar pedal. So they're not using the mixer that they were using to kind of create those effects. They were actually sending it out of the mixer into a guitar pedal and
Creative.
then back into the mixer
Cool.
to send it back out. So again, just another cool way to take things that already exist that are being used in other idioms and other industries, and then just try to make it work for us in our world. So
I just can't imagine how busy everyone on Team Audio was managing that. It
Yeah.
happened right in a row.
Correct.
Duets with effects,
Duets with effect,
into
and
the Doppler effect trombone stuff,
Yep.
into all that. Yeah, I mean, that's
it's
more than a few things happening.
more than a few things, and also just it's not too much either. So just to create enough color and texture of what you would expect from a trumpet and,
Right.
and a mellophone.
Ear candy.
It
Just
is
like
ear
a
candy.
little. Right.
And honestly, this whole show was kind of riddled with really cool thematic, there's there's a section, I think there's like the narration is just like men, but just that word is just like enough to kind of create a scene and kind of make the moment.
Explain kind of what you were saying, just for everybody who's not. I think to a lot of folks,
Yeah.
it's just like we set the speakers up, the speakers make it louder.
Right.
End of sentence.
Right.
But
And,
what
honestly,
can you do?
This moment is more of an acoustic sound design moment where they're creating effect naturally,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of running it through the system. So the Doppler effect being, as something moves across, you're hearing the
Right.
the sound quality change. So they're creating that cool effect where they're shooting it towards the end zone, and then they're playing, a gliss up and down the trombone, which obviously a great instrument to do that with, and then moving with it. So now you're getting all of it. And they're creating like a natural crescendo and decrescendo of all those elements. And again, just to kind of bring it all here and the kind of the runway company front, so to speak. But yeah, and then take it home. And then obviously the narration sitting on top. Doubling the melody. One thing I forgot about I'll back it up just a second. Check out the bass drums and the back props back here. So,
oh, wow.
So they actually, when they start the show, they kind of start it like emerging from like a cave or something. And they use these drums to kind of, they have mics on those as well. And they're pushing those through just to be more impactful. So
cool.
Again, just reinforcing an acoustic element to make your electronic element more impactful.
And I also wanted to say, when all that's going on, I could still hear all the keyboard instruments really clearly as well. Yeah. So, sound design vocal, plus the horns, plus the keyboards, plus the bass drums.
It's a lot of elements you gotta throw into your mixing bucket.
Yep.
And taste all the flavors.
Well, they served it up well, that's for sure.
They served it up well, for sure. All right, next one. This is the last one, okay? Blue Coats 2024.
Great show.
Which we all know and are appreciative of the moments that made it win. Mm-hmm. And very innovative top to bottom, design-wise. Obviously, a lot of cool sound design effect moments. But I think the moment that stood out most, I think, to everybody was this flag feature and kind of the musical elements that went with it and the soundscape that was created because of it. So let's check it out. So obviously the flags are staged prime. Man.
So cool.
So what made that moment? Okay, there's a lot of things that made that moment. So obviously, the very last brass impact before then kind of starts the moment. And I think it's important to note that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 field mics spread out every 10 yards ish, 12 yards ish. To kind of pick up the full length of the field. So the way they have all this kind of set up and routed is, yes, those field mics do come in through the board, but they're able to send it back out of the board into their main stage rig and be able to process it live that way, and then then bring it back through the speakers. So at this very last brass hit, you're going to hear like the effect happen right on the impact, which then kind of bleeds into the flag moment. And I think the timing, just listen for the timing of it.
Right.
So that initial
the
sound,
release is getting processed and dovetails into the
reverbs and fat effects or whatever they might have been using to first get us into the scape, and then the flags take it from there. So
and I like it takes our ears from the fullness of a drum corps up into, like a higher end sound, and then that even gets even higher into the flag switch.
Right. It's like we're doing this with our frequencies.
Voice leading of frequencies.
Yeah, we're literally getting thinner as we go on, which is also super sick. Yeah. Very like atmospheric.
And what's that growing in the background too?
So my interpretation is that the processing they're doing has like a feedback element, and so like the more that they're layering and the more that they're doing, it's actually feeding back into itself, and it's kind of growing the moment some more.
Yep.
So that part's really sick. The main thing that I think to note is that these flags aren't like normal silks.
Right.
So they had to get special, I don't remember exactly what the actual material is, but they had to get special flags that are obviously a little bit more audible when they're being tossed, in order to create that moment. But again, could they have created this moment with this intent if the guard was staged anywhere else? Absolutely not.
Right.
So another thing you have to like take your hat off to and understand is that they created a moment based on the end result of what they wanted, and then they designed around it. And I think that's an important thing to understand in sound design, is that it doesn't always have to be an afterthought. It can be something that is just at the forefront of your mind when you're designing a show,
right,
as every other element. And when you're on a design team that understands that, you're going to get cool results like this.
And I love that top drum corps are doing this now. Certainly the Blue Coats.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly, involving that as like anything from a transition that's fully sound design based to full effects that are sound design based, full moments,
and they were getting points on the visual side for this. They were getting guard points, like they're checking a lot of different boxes with just this one 15-second moment.
Right.
Again, just another creative element that they did that.
And really, that whole show takes your ears on a huge journey from, little tiny whiny sounds to like that kind of beautiful thing to obviously the drum corps that sounds so good.
Top to
got
bottom.
It all.
And
yep.
I think it's also important to say that like the Blue Coats are being kind of pushing what's possible in sound integration with the marching idiom. And
I think, with no slight towards anybody else, that is a fair statement.
Yeah, and that's why I had 2 Blue Coats. I could have probably had a couple more, but I just think that we should all be taking notes from what they're doing and kind of understand like the possibilities are endless as long as you're thinking about those things and have that creative edge
right
to make it happen. So yeah, that's basically it.
Sweet. Well, I feel like we got some great examples of everything from sound as reinforcement to sounds that the audience wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
To, I mean, this moment, yes, it had some processing as well, but at the heart of it, they took flags that had a unique noise and brought that into the forefront. Just
stage them where they needed to be.
Right. Creative uses. And none of those were just straight up like a synthesizer sound that, cool patch on the board. It was all really some good creative thinking behind all those moments to bring out the heart and soul of the show and deliver something that's different from anything you heard the rest of the night.
Yep.
I think every example you showed, would probably be a standout that night.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of where my head was at when I was thinking of these moments. I was like, man, that this one thing really stood out to me about this one show. I might not remember a lot of the other like parts of the show just because it, you might get one read on it, but you're like, man, there was that one moment that really stood out to me. But yeah, super cool. And I think another note, obviously, is sound design doesn't have to be electronic. It doesn't necessarily have to be integrated into your sound reinforcement. It can be acoustic elements that you're using the environment to your advantage, and you're using the dome to your advantage to create some cool moments too.
Absolutely.
Which I think a lot of these groups also did.
I mean, we have seen drum corps surround the field in concert bass drums. We've seen, all kinds of stuff.
And that's just creating a more immersive like stage to perform on too, which I think is really cool and need more of that.
Yeah. Hey, once upon a time, it was just, once in a while the brass turned around and played to the backfield stands and then whip it back around again, which still works. Everybody still does it.
Right. And on that note, something just off topic is you're actually able to recreate Lucas Oil in like reverb plugins. So a lot of what you can, like what designers are doing is they're putting their show through that reverb to try to emulate what it might sound like in Lucas Oil. So now they're having a better idea of like, how long does this release need to be? What does the pause time need to be? What's our tail on the end of this to make it sound the way we want it to in this dome? Because I think at the end of the day, this is the end game for most drum corps is what is it going to sound like in Lucas Oil? Yeah, we're going to play in 30 other venues, throughout the entire month of July and August, but what's it going to sound like when it really needs to show through?
What's the magic gap between
Yeah.
the horn release and when it dissipates up into the top of the dome?
Yeah.
And when the applause starts?
right?
Yeah, all those kind of
let's
things.
put that on the paper.
Yep.
So cool.
Sweet. Love it. Well, thanks for taking us on
Yeah.
an audio journey. 2 claps for Nick's faves.
Good little split there.
Not bad.
Awesome. We'll see.
Cool. Until next time.